More now on the new Republican majority and the people to watch, maybe more closely than others, as Kevin McCarthy tries to get his footing as Speaker. One is Donald Trump. He helped switch key votes in the end, and McCarthy made clear after he is grateful. Another is the Pennsylvania Congressman Scott Perry. He tried to help Trump steal the 2020 election, and his actions are part of a Justice Department investigation. Yet, Perry will not rule out serving on a new House committee to investigate what Republicans claim is overreach and abuses by the FBI and the Justice Department.
Well, why should I be limited? Why should anybody be limited just because someone has made an accusation? Everybody in America is innocent until proven otherwise. And I would say this, the American people are really, really tired of the persecution and the instruments of federal power being used against them.
Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but is it not a conflict of interest if your name is part of an investigation? I'm not going to use the legal language people use, but they want to see his text messages. We know he tried to help Trump install a new attorney general, replace the acting attorney general at the time with somebody. And he's going to be on the committee that investigates what they believe to be overreaches by the investigators.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add to that. We know that he's not going to be the chair of this new select subcommittee. It's going to be Jim Jordan. So he won't lead it. But yeah, I don't know how House Republicans are going to deal with it, although they do have a totally different take on what is the weaponization of the federal government, and the things that they are going to be investigating, and January 6th is not one of them.
And we should also point out that they have a really broad scope. That was one of the things that they were debating when they were trying to figure out some of these concessions. They got a huge budget. They got a really broad mandate, so they can use this to go after any federal agency and look into these investigations. And some of these members have been calling for a select committee to look into January 6th. Kevin McCarthy said no, he didn't want to do that. But I suspect that they are going to try to use this committee to go after some of these January 6th probes. And this is where you're going to see a lot of those heated fights.
It is a remarkable moment. Another thing that happened at the very end is Marjorie Taylor Greene, normally viewed as a rebel, but she's on Team McCarthy now because he's promised that he's going to make her a player. He's going to give her committee assignments. To get the handful of rebels to just vote present, you see right there, if you look close at that phone, it says DT at the top. That would be Donald Trump. She's trying to hand the phone there to Matt Rosendale, one of the holdouts from Montana. He didn't want to take the call because he didn't want the pressure from Donald Trump. Listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene describing her big role here.
He yelled at me on the House floor, telling me, "Don't you ever do this?" I was so surprised I couldn't understand. I was holding out my phone saying, "It's President Trump. He wants to speak with you." You know, President Trump endorsed, I think, all 20. He had talked to them, multiple of the 20, during the course of the week, urging them to vote for Kevin McCarthy for Speaker because we have a great agenda.
It has not been a good stretch for Donald Trump. The 2022 midterms, Republicans did not do anywhere near as well as they thought, and Trump shares a fair amount of that blame. But there you have it again. Last January, Kevin McCarthy blamed Trump, said Trump was responsible for January 6th. Then he went to Mar-a-Lago very quickly, said, "Never mind, I want to be Speaker. I need your support." Turns out that was, quote unquote, correct. Strategically, it helped in the end, but Kevin McCarthy has yet again, at a time many Republicans are trying to shove Trump away, big hug.
It's as if there's no other option. Right? And that's because I don't think there's any other option. Like, you're in now, right? He is too important to critical members of your conference to be at any other place. Did I think that necessitated Kevin McCarthy's first words after becoming Speaker of the House being to thank in grandiose terms Donald Trump for all the things that happened in the world? Probably not. But that's where they are at this point in time. It's almost like once you're in this deeply, you have no other choice. To some degree, though, I'm a little skeptical of the idea that this dramatically turns around his standing, in the sense that these are his people. These 20, as Marjorie Taylor Greene said, they were all endorsed by him. They are all huge advocates for him. Still took him 14 votes to get everybody together. And as Marjorie Taylor Greene was saying, and Mel has reported throughout the course of the week, he was calling them. He was staying in touch with them. Did he help turn them in the end? I don't think there's any question about that. Is that as big a deal as I think some people are framing it as? No, I don't think it is.
I think that's the thing. I mean, if you're Kevin McCarthy and you're saying that, oh, you know, Trump may have got him over the finish line, but he allowed him to be humiliated over and over again. Like, if he really had the power to turn it, why didn't you turn it after the second vote? Also, if I'm Kevin McCarthy,
Trump didn't jump in until it was already clear that Kevin McCarthy was almost there. That's the other thing.
Right, and so let's just look right now, and we should give these new Republicans the benefit of the doubt. Let's see whether they do essentially a performance review of the government or aggressive oversight that goes too far. The new committee chair, we know, James Comer will be the oversight. They're going to call it the Oversight and Accountability Committee, not Reform Committee. Jim Jordan, Judiciary, very well known. Mike McCall, Foreign Affairs, a mainstream conservative. Mike Rogers, Armed Services. Mike Turner, the Intelligence Committee. Most of them, Jordan is a wild card there. Most of them fit the definition of sort of mainstream conservative, let's see. But Comer said today, we're not just investigating Hunter Biden, we're investigating Joe Biden. Do they have the discipline to follow facts as opposed to follow politics?
I was just chuckling because 2 of their names are Mike or 3 are Mike or Michael and 2 are James or Jim. So they all have almost the same names. But there's going to be a lot of pressure on these Republican chairmen to go where the base wants them to go, where the MAGA wing of the party wants them to go.
Forgive me for interrupting, but that's dangerous because the base thinks Donald Trump won the last election, and he did not.
Right.
And so if you want to go, I mean, look, there's legitimate oversight of Hunter Biden. There's legitimate oversight of the border. There's legitimate oversight of government spending. Of course there is. The question is, can they stay in the lane of fact?
Well, what's interesting to me is that some of these Republicans have said that they don't want another Benghazi-style committee during the last time Republicans were in control. Of course, that helped McCarthy to lose the last bid for speakership. So how is it going to be any different this time? That's what I don't know.